Okay, I spent about 70 hours in the Vessel of Hatred expansion already, and it is endgame overload. There are just so many different activities that you can do in the endgame, and I took the time to farm it all on T4 with the Spiritborn. Build will be in, another video that I posted, and I took notes on what were the best places to find each of the endgame materials that you're going to want to make your build, whatever build you're playing, as strong as possible. So I went through every activity and every item type and ranked them basically. If it's red, that means don't expect to find much there. Yellow, expect to find a medium amount. And green, it's the best place to find this specific thing. So I'm going to go through each of the activities now, but I wanted to get this on the screen so you didn't have to wait for the whole video if this is all you came for. Let me hide my camera real quick. Get your screenshot, but I'm going to explain and show you the best farming ways to maximize your farming on all of these activity types. So Helltiddes, what you're going to do is make sure you maximize your cinders and open up all the chests. That is going to give you the best chances for all of these materials that you see in yellow. Opals, you'll want to do some events, and XP is generally pretty good. Whispers, as you're doing Helltide, Whispers are now sort of interchangeable with Helltide. So you're going to want to be running your Whisper quests while you're doing Helltide, and then make sure you turn them in once you're done so that you can keep getting more Whispers and completing more. These are going to be really great, especially early for those horde keys for the Infernal Hordes, which are one of the best places to farm for XP, which you're going to see coming up. The Undercity is really just a good place to farm just about everything, all the important stuff at least that you're going to find. With the ability to target farm as well in the Undercity, it's going to be the most popular place to farm in Season 6 and in the expansion. I believe it's expansion only, so if you don't have access to the expansion, you won't be able to access the Undercity, but for those that do, this is going to be where you're going to live in the expansion and the new season. World bosses are good for, I believe they're adding guaranteed runes. That wasn't in the Vessel of Hatred early access, but I believe that they said they're going to add them. Also, boss mats, depending on the world boss. Like if you get the goblins, a ton of boss mats drop. It's also a decent place for ancestrals, but otherwise there's not a whole lot going for world bosses. Same with Legion. You can find some decent forging mats and herbs and breath if you're really in a bind, but otherwise I don't really run them. Nightmare Dungeons, great for masterworking materials. Just like a little bit behind Undercity. They're pretty equivalent, I would say. Undercity and Nightmare Dungeons for masterworking materials. But the thing about Nightmare Dungeons is you don't really need to use offerings to get that maximum like masterworking materials. Also decent for like forging mats, boss mats, and ancestral items, as well as XP. It's one of the great places to get XP. Uber bosses are going to be great for getting materials just by salvaging everything you find. So that's going to be very important if you're doing these Uber bosses, that you're salvaging all the items that you're finding from them. Obviously, it's a good place for ancestrals, but those are ancestral uniques, not ancestral legendaries. The Uber bosses now are not going to drop legendaries. They're only going to drop unique items, but you have a pretty good chance of finding an ancestral version of those uniques. Obviously, mythics, and they drop a lot of runes as well, so that's really good. Let's hide the camera again. Infernal Hordes, great area to farm a lot of things. So you get a lot of materials from farming the Infernal Hordes by choosing the material chest. It's the best XP in the game. Infernal Hordes by far. So if you're grinding Paragon, this is where you're going to want to be. Next, the Pits. Pits are another great spot for XP. They're not the best. They lack a little behind Infernal Hordes, but still a really good place. This is where you're going to get all of your Glyph XP, really. Like Pits are going to focus on that Glyph XP. That's how you're going to level those up. You also get a lot of opals, which are good for target farming through the gambling vendor. And then the Dark Citadel, really not good for much of anything. We found a few ancestrals when we were running it, but I don't recommend this for farming. It's mostly for clout. And then the Realm Walkers are going to be the best place to find your opals, which are the seasonal mechanic, and you're going to be running an opal just as often as you can, really. So I hope that was helpful for all of your end game activities. I hope that added some clarity, and you can see at a quick glimpse, if I want to farm this material, this is the activity that I should go to do it. I'm going to be using this for my push, and I hope it was helpful for you too. So thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.